it was a woman just with really big hands. We're on. Hello, my name is Nigel Peregrine. Very just insurance juggernauts. Professional bastard. And I'm here to show you just how bloody extreme the insurance world can actually be. So thank you for the positive feedback following my the previous podcast, which featured my colleague and bloody good bloke, Rigger Jones. He's happy that it was well received by the podcast listening community. I, on the other hand, I couldn't give two bollocks. So this is episode 6, ain't it? And Christmas. For the civvy, it's a time to look forward to the time off work and the rest. Although they have to endure the organisation and commitment that the build-up to Christmas brings. But for the adjuster, we've got all that bollocks and the barrage of insurance claimants wanting their claims sorted before Christmas. Takes the piss, mate. Right, let's get the sponsorship out of the way. And today's episode is brought to you in association with Declan E. Blunder Loss Adjusters, where professionalism is at the heart of everything we do. And for Christmas, if you quote the code Santa before December the 21st, you can get 2 claims declined for the price of 1. That's good, ain't it? Right. I've as it's Christmas, I was given a code today by a customer. Let's. All right, let's. Just a picture of reindeer at the front. Shit, a brick. How much? There's 50 quid in here. 50 shit, a brick. Dear Mr. Loss Adjuster, Merry Christmas. Thank you for your help with the claim. Have a drink as a gesture of goodwill. Best wishes. I won't say the names. Well, that's nice, isn't it? Must be a donation of some sort. Otherwise, it could be misconstrued as a bribe. Thing is, it can't be a bribe because that would mean the claim would have to be covered. And I did tell him, I said, there's more chance of Meghan Markle leaving Prince Harry and wanting to run off with me to Barbados or something, which is absolutely shitty ridiculous and far-fetched. Because as you know, I don't do abroad. That does explain why they tried to snatch the card back off me, though. So what have I been up to since the last podcast? Well, we had that Black Friday, didn't we? So dealt with a claim where someone had damaged their 5-year-old TV, and the TV wasn't in production anymore, so it was difficult to replace it like for like. But I did my best. Luckily, it was Black Friday, so I popped out and sourced one myself. Anyway, I picked up an absolute shitting bargain. It was a 15-inch colour telly from North Korean brand Kakashito. The policy holder, ungrateful arsehole. He said, where's the remote? I said, you don't have to worry about a bloody remote. You never lose the remote because there ain't one. He said, well, how do I change the channel then? I said, that's the clever thing, you see, because you never have to change the channel because there's only one channel and it's permanently tuned to a North Korean propaganda news channel. Like I said, he was an ungrateful arsehole. What else has been going on? I came across a claim with the policyholder that they had some absolutely shocking CCTV footage of the incident, and I'll tell you what, I'll arrange for the excess to be swallowed up in the claim. Yeah, don't worry about the excess, I'll sort that out for you. But I need to take that CCTV off your hands. Anyway, the good news is I received a cheque for £250 from You've Been Framed. So that was brilliant, that was a touch. This week I had a claim for a house fire. Complete decimation it was, and I was stood outside this property. The policy holder was stood next to me, and I said, have you just moved in? They said, no, why? I said, well, it looks like you've had a housewarming party. Some people really haven't got a sense of humour. What else has been going on? It's getting colder, and winter's pretty much here now, and there's a spare thaws for the loss adjuster at this time of year. Yes, it is very pissing busy, but it's not just that, because, as you well know, all adjusters go commando. One adjuster that I know, Clive Bovril Sifsner, he was given the nickname Hunter, not just because he was exemplary at sniffing out fraud, but because one December he couldn't find his penis for 3 days. I shit you not. Now, today's true tale of life in the insurance game, it comes from, it's very recent actually, it happened last week. It's a tense, high drama, non-stop adrenaline. It's an adrenaline rush of epic shitting proportions, so, excuse me, you better strap yourselves in. Maybe sit in the brace position when listening to this, well, not if you're driving. This is called Christmas Carnage. It's the same thing every bloody year. Loss adjusters assemble, brought together for a common purpose. Now, I'm not talking about the shitty weather and the flood bollocks or nada. I'm talking about the Christmas bastard party. To be fair, for the small firm of adjusters, Declan E. Blunder put on some epic shitting Christmas piss-ups. So epic that we can hardly remember them. It's become more and more difficult to find decent locations for our Christmas do. We've been barred from so many places now that we're running out. We were going to forgo one year's Christmas celebrations and put the budget towards a trip to Amsterdam the following year. But with some of the old timers coming up to retirement, it seemed a shame to let them miss out on one last Christmas piss up and gentle caress from one of our favourite strippers. She's a lovely girl, Mavis. She'll flop 'em out for anyone. It's an impressive sight seeing a group of loss adjusters bowling down the street, dressed for business, with a passion to party. It's like a group of alpha males walking through town. You can see the intimidation on the faces of people who dare to make eye contact with us. I mean, we're not looking for trouble, but considering each man on his own is known as a one-man riot, just imagine what a few of us together look like. In fact, it's probably important to point out that the collective noun for a group of loss adjusters is a pride. I thought this was a claim for damage to laminate flooring.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh, you live like this?
Yeah.
You actually live like this? Oh, right. Ooh. No, I won't have a cup of tea, you all right? We all entered the venue where the do was being held. This year, it was Hasselthwaite's Hotel in the city centre. A 3-course meal, free booze, and a disco. I wouldn't be dancing. Peregrine dances for no man. I didn't even dance during my first dance with Belinda, the ex-wife. I just stood there in the middle of the dance floor, one hand in my pocket, the other hand lifting a pint to my lips, whilst Belinda two-stepped the shit out of Whitney Houston's "Ooh, I Want to Dance with Somebody." Anyway, this Christmas bash was a collective corporate bash with numerous tables dedicated to various different businesses. No doubt, plenty of ladies there who, once locking their gaze onto the pride of fine specimen, will want to engage in some love adjusting later on. As usual, this was another appointment we were slightly late for, but we entered through the doors with a loud, raucous commotion. So much so that everyone gave the look of knowing that at last this had gone from a shitting wake to a real testosterone-pumping, knuckle-duster-thumping, pheromone-inducing party. We sat down at our table and got the formalities out of the way. Gary Tribbledunk, the boss, wanted to say a few words. "Gentlemen, piss off, Gary. No one wants to listen to your bollocks," I said. "It's bad enough at the team meetings. We're here to have a bloody good time, for shit's sake." I stood up and he sat down, knowing I was clearly the alpha. "Right, you bunch of indemnifying bastards. Should we get split up for any reason tonight, you know the drill. Meet up at the Fly Tipper's Arms in Ruddle Street. If you get there after closing time, mention my name and you'll be allowed to stay for the lock-in, where there'll be plenty of booze, poker and status quo on the jukebox." There was a cheer. We've worked hard all year, and this week has been particularly shit, dealing with snivelling policyholders on the lead up to Christmas. Aidan Chipsarchel. He looks up. I said, "I know you've been to so many flooded basements this week, you've developed trench foot." He nodded. I said, "We've all been there, brother. Fear not. You can just walk it off. But now is the time to put all of that to one side. We're here. Together. A pride of loss adjusters, strong, independent, sexually deviant, and double-hard. Seeing a loss adjuster with a drink in hand is as natural as seeing a red-faced, sweaty fat bloke out of breath, chewing. No offence, Trev. It is true, but I know your weight problem is, glandular. Now let's get shit-faced in the name of a consumerist festival that's lost all of its religious sentiment." There's a roar from the group, and we get down to do what adjusters do best: drinking and moaning about our jobs.
After that last fight, I remember speaking to you, and you told me that no one had hurt you as badly as Nigel had in that fight.
That is correct, yeah.
Does that give you any extra feeling of fear or anticipation?
Oh, yeah. I'm petrified. Nigel is a very hard puncher. He's a very good fighter. This man he's no joke. This man can fight.
Okay, let's
no,
move on.
Let me carry on to say, he's a very dangerous opponent. No one should take him lightly.
You take him seriously?
Totally and utterly.
All right, Nigel?
We had just finished pudding when one of the lads piped up. "Here, does anyone else think that summer nebula over there look familiar?" In unison, the pride turned to look at the table across the room from us. We were met with a familiar group, all staring back at us with scowls. If it was socially acceptable to do so, I'm sure they would have started hissing like cornered cats. Selfish creatures. Could it be? Yes, it could. Increased premium loss assessors, or as we like to call them, the League of Exaggerating Arseholes. For those of you new to the podcast or not familiar with the insurance game, you've got two breeds. You've got the loss adjuster, whose job is to, pay the claim in a reasonable way, just pay what people are entitled to. Yeah, that is our job. The loss assessor works for the policyholder, and they try and get as much money as possible for the claim, exaggerating things, making things worse than what they are. They sell a good story to the policyholder, saying, "Oh, we try, insurance companies are trying to get out of pay this stuff. We're trying to, get as much money." But you see, they get commission. They get a percentage of commission. You see, so it's in their interest to get the claim as expensive as shitting possible by any deviant means. The person who loses out is the policyholder, because the more expensive the claim, the more expensive their premiums are going to be. They couldn't hack it as an adjuster, they become a loss assessor. Parasite. Right. The Pride were growing restless. This could kick off at any minute. Easy. Stand down, I shout, trying to calm the troops. I signalled for one of the waiters to come over and asked him to fetch his manager. Eventually the manager approached me. By this time, there were abusive hand gestures from both sides. "Can I help you?" "Who the bloody hell booked them in?" I said. "I don't know, sir," he replied. "They need to go. Get them out," I demanded. "Well, that's not going to happen, sir. That's not possible. They've booked a table just like everybody else." I said, "Don't you understand, man? They're loss assessors. We're loss adjusters. We're mortal enemies. Oil and water. Eubank and Ben. Giant haystacks and Big Daddy." Younger listeners may need to Google that to know what I'm talking about. "I'm sorry, sir, but you'll just have to keep it under control tonight." "Someone needs sacking," I shouted. "This is just like dropping a Barocca into a fish tank. It's an explosive reaction with imminent loss of life. You've got blood on your hands, son, and you haven't got a shitting clue. Sir, if there's any violence, disturbance, I will call the police." I was in the Morris dancers. Piss off. He walked away, and I turned to face the rest of the pack, who were doing everything they possibly could to restrain from unleashing hell onto the table of parasites. "Rein it in, fellas. Keep it under control for shit's sake. The night is young. We'll be moving on to somewhere new. More beer, a pole dance or three, maybe even a happy ending massage. Just stay strong." Suddenly, I saw Rigger Jones reaching into his pocket, ready to withdraw his telescopic baton. "Parasitic bastards," he shouted across the room. I should get Rigger to do this, shouldn't I? Hold on, I'll give him a call. Just get my phone. Just done. Right, ring. He's probably on the job.
Jones.
Rigger, it's Nigel.
Nigel Fiercewind Peregrine. Are you calling wanting the rods back? I've cleared the blockage now.
Well, I'm not calling you about that, but if I can have him back. Did you hold the blue end? Did you hold the blue end like I told you?
I thought the blue end goes in the water.
Shitter, Rick.
Yes, I did. That's the point of using them.
Listen, Rigger, I'm doing another podcast. It's about the Christmas party last week.
Ah, yes. Is it still burning when you urinate?
Basically, I thought it'd be better if you do your lines.
Well, I must warn you. I'm in bed with a beautiful woman.
What are you saying? You've popped the blue pill and want me to piss off? I can do it myself. Don't worry about it.
We're not doing anything. She's tired from all the dancing with her dance partner, who she assures me is homosexual. I just might struggle to project if I'm lying down.
Well, stand up then.
I can't. I popped a blue pill 20 minutes ago, and it's a struggle to roll out of bed.
Look, just do your lines, right? I'll tell you what you got to say. So I'm at the bit where you saw the loss assessors, and then you reached in your pocket about to withdraw your telescopic baton. Do you remember what you said?
Goddamn commission chasing turtleneck wearing banshees.
No. You called them parasitic bastards.
No?
I'm sure you did.
No, I didn't.
No, you did. You called them parasitic bastards.
Don't think I did.
Well, can you just say parasitic bastards?
Parasitic bastards.
Yeah, there we go. That wasn't hard, was it? Rigger, stand down, brother. We don't need bloodshed to spoil the... Stand down, brother. We don't need bloodshed to spoil a pleasant evening of debauchery. Tight-ass wankers, shouted a voice from across the way. This unsettled the pride even more. Don't bite, I shouted. We're called wankers all the time from brokers and policyholders. We're used to it. Suddenly, there's a crash as a bottle of wine smashes on the wall behind us. The glass spraying out in different directions, while its red contents splashed against the wall. There was a general unrest in the room. That's a waste of good booze, you money splashing, booze wasting heathen, shouted one of the older members of the group. He was proper old school and refrained from swearing. His right hook did most of the talking anyway. One of our lot threw his cutlery across the room, narrowly missing one of the scum. I can only assume he was sending a warning. The room was growing more and more restless as other diners moved away to the far end of the room, unable to cross the line of verbal fire between the opposing forces. And then I saw the face that I despise, my nemesis. The man that stole my wife, and worse than that, stole my stainless steel Parker pen. Yes, it was Oliver Beardlove, his comb-over slightly dishevelled in the midst of the drama, the disco lights glistening off his gold tooth. He was staring right at me, and then with a ferocious intent, he flicked the bird. It was time. Peregrine. Right. Beardlove's over there. He's shitting having it. I shouted to my troops. Is everyone packing it? With that, the various Lost Adjusters' companions came out in force. Rigger pulled out his telescopic baton. Trevor, TKO Winklesack III, a small Sitterman charcoal. Clive Dynamite Diamond, a bike chain, and from the others, various other concealed weapons of choice. I pulled out my brass companion and started the charge in the classic way that warriors always do. Yes. I threw a chair at the scum, shouting "Have it," before leading the charge through a hail of missiles, glasses, bottles, cutlery, and profiteroles. The battle was a grueling eruption of violence as an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Adjuster versus assessor as fists and feet flew. Women were screaming, and even civilians got caught up in the maelstrom. I threw many a penetrating hard kick in the face of an assessor, and I luckily managed to duck under a flying sidekick of an assessor taking aim directly at me. But he was dealt with subtly as a chair was brought down on his back by none other then my compadre, brother in arms, Mr. Rigger Jones. He always has my back, don't you? Rigger. Rigger.
Oh, come on. Just touch the end. It is Christmas.
Rigger.
What?
I'm just saying that you brought the chair down on that assessor that tried to kick me in the face.
Yes. I shouted, "Get that beard, love bastard!"
Yeah, you did. I gave a knowing nod and stood up to survey the chaotic scene before me. There he was, in his shiny suit, with one of his colleagues, laying into a down adjuster, 2 against 1. I'm getting wound up just thinking about it. I made my way towards him. And then as shit plague assessors got in the way, I relentlessly smashed through them one by one. Smash, smash, punch, nut, kick, leaving behind me unconscious casualties, assessors lying in my wake. Beardlove spots me. And then he scurried away towards the exit. I darted after him, but not before throwing the perfect roundhouse kick into the throat of the assessor who was sitting on top of my fallen colleague. I looked down at my adjusting brother, his face blooded from battle. He had sustained a severe head injury. "Derek!" I shouted. "You're taking quite a hit. Your brains are spewed out onto the dance floor." I'm acting now. "Peregrine," replied Derek, spluttering his words. "It's trifle." Indeed, it was. "Now get that beard, love, bastard," he spluttered before losing consciousness. As I gently dropped his head, the sound of his skull knocking onto the dance floor reminded me of the time when I dropped my Nokia 3210 onto Carnage flooring, writing it off. The phone was undamaged. I darted out into the corridor, leaving behind the chaos of Christmas carnage because of an uneducated bloody booking. In the distance, I could hear the sounds of sirens. Oh yeah, the Morris dancers were here. Beardlove was scampering away like the coward he is down the corridor, but because he was wearing Cuban heels, can't exactly run very fast in them. So I was gaining. He would soon be mine. The cowardly Ponzi bastard darted into the disabled toilet and locked the door behind him. With a solid clenched fist, I banged on the door. Bang, bang, bang. "Beardlove, unlock the shitting door. I want to come in and destroy you. You nicked my pen, you arse candle. Oh yeah, and you stole my wife, but to be fair, you did me a favour there. But I still want my pen back, and besides, I don't agree with the assessor ethos." There was no answer. Of course there wasn't. Then a size 11 smashed into the door. Bang! Almost taking it off the hinges. But Beardlove was nowhere to be seen. There was an open window, and he'd shimmied down the drain pipe. He was gone, and I had more pressing matters to contend with now, avoiding the Morris dancers. I hid behind the door, utilising the classic stealth that many loss adjusters possess. That's how we can sometimes blend into the foliage whilst monitoring the crack of a subsidence claim at 11:30 at night. For a policyholder, it just so happens to be, an attractive female policyholder, but, basically, we're monitoring the crack without causing alarm. When the Morris dancers had entered the mass brawl in the main room, I made a sharp exit and headed to the rendezvous point for the bloody good drink. waiting for an hour in the fly tipper's arms. I'd been met with only 5 of my loss-adjusting brothers. The rest were either in the back of an ambulance or a Morris dancer's shitting van. We raised a toast to our fallen brothers and toasted the success of the battle we had won. Then it was on with the debauchery, poker, and quo. 3 strip clubs and a massage parlour later, it's safe to say that we'd reached a happy ending. We ended the night in the early hours back at Rigger's Gaff with a massive bloody bung on the go. So with a handful of arrests, a handful admitted to A&E, 3 credit cards maxed out on lap dances, 1 burning pisser, a stomach pump, 1 allergic reaction to massage oil, and a couple of whiteys, I can conclude that this was one of the best Christmas do's I've been on since 1984.
I agree.
No, you're still there.
Indeed, I
Yeah, cheers,
am.
mate. Bye.
Talking pens are certainly a thing, aren't they? Especially when they include the figures of people renownedly hated across an entire country. And this pen is exactly that. It is Nigel's talking pen. We couldn't possibly say who the surname is because we might be sued while he's taking a breather in between pints at the pub. Yes, this is something that someone thought needed to exist. Nigel's talking pen includes 8 sayings. You're not laughing now, are you? No, Nigel, I'm not. And at the bottom it says, laugh at/with Nigel. It will be at. And not at the things you're saying, just at you in general, Nigel. Oh dear, it has the phrases on the back, but we will wait and we will find out with joy what Nigel has to say for himself. So, let's crack out Nigel's talking pen. Just look at his face. Look at that face. Looks like he's had a stroke. Oh well, or he's Sloth from the Goonies, perhaps. Does he say, hey you guys? Maybe. We'll find out.
You went to that beach. You should try cleaning. Absolute disgrace. Yeah, you're not covered. I'll see you later. Hello, I hope you enjoyed that true tale. Like I say, still a bit raw, that only happened last week. A bit of an update since then. 3 of the lads are getting divorced now. So, yeah, what happens on tour needs to stay on tour. But sometimes things like FaceTime and social media means you're always at risk of getting found out. Anyway, here I am, back down the Goose and the Gander Real Ale establishment. I'm going to answer some of your questions now. People contact me through the Facebook, the LinkedIn, or Twitter. The first one's from Andrew John Morris, and he asked me to share any stories about Christmas time repudiations. Well, this time of year, Andrew, is fraught with financial desperation, ain't it? 'Tis the season to be jolly, not if you go to a loan shark. Is it about family? Is it about rest and religion? Is it bollocks? It's about spending shitloads of money on people you don't really like because you feel obliged to, and then pissing about, going to the shops again after Christmas to see the things that you bought for them much cheaper, whilst you have to piss about exchanging the shit gifts you've been given at Christmas. I mean, basically Christmas is a load of bollocks, isn't it? You know. But because of the squeeze on the wallet, some people decide to try to claim to get cash to buy presents. Shame, really, but this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. And anyone thinking of doing it, piss and think again, because lots of justices are wise to the bullshit, and we can sniff out fraud quicker than a sniffer dog finding marijuana in a cannabis factory, on a barge, on a canal in the middle of Amsterdam. Recently, I had a later appointment for a break-in claim, theft of a load of Christmas presents from under the tree. Funnily enough, there was no sign of forcible or violent entry to the house. I knew this was complete bollocks from the start. You can tell. Like I say, we get this all the time this time of year. Anyway, the mother rocks up. She's got the kids. Brought the horrible kid back home from school. Horrible little thing he is. About 7. Right noisy, horrible, mouthy little wretched brat. Future star of Jeremy Kyle. I said to him, you must be gutted, son, with all your presents being nicked from under the tree. His old man looked on, a bit uncomfortable, whilst the brat looked at me, a bit quizzical expression, didn't know what I was talking about, did he? I said, what's the confusion, son? Is it because you haven't seen any presents under the tree? Of course he nods. His old man tries to hush him. Oh, go on, Tyrone. Go. Why don't you go to bed? Go to your room, eh? I'll continue. I say, oh, is that because Santa brings all your presents? And then he nods again. I said, of course he does. Good lad. I said, what do you want to be when you're older? He says, oh, I want to be a spy. He shouts, got no volume control. Horrible. I said, a spy? Well, that means you got to know about secrets then. I tell you what, I've got a secret for you. Can you keep secrets? You got to keep secrets if you're going to be a spy. He gets real excited. I lean in, and I said, here. Right. Your old man is a fraudularizer. Oh, by the way, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. But look at his little fat face. And his old man's fat face as well. I said, yeah, what are you going to do? What's you going to do? Wasn't going to do anything. He knew. Sometimes I do actually enjoy this job. Thank you, Morris. The next question is from Agatha Pertwee Lassac. She says, got any gift ideas for Christmas? I'm not great with presents. I'll be honest. They said, at the office, we're going to do this secret Santa thing, You're going to get a secret present for somebody with a budget, all those bollocks. I ended up with the secretary. And, I got her a voucher to go towards some facial waxing. She wasn't impressed with that. I did land on my feet a couple of years ago. Christmas time, I do live on my own, but I tend to invite myself a Christmas dinner at some relatives. Pardon me. It's courtesy not to go empty-handed, so I rock up, and I know her daughter. She was about 13 at the time. She was into art and crafts and all that. So I turn up with some art biros and art flick books. So they can flick books, so you do like animations and shit, Of course, I had to blag that Gab Robbins were a top arts and crafts company, and not in fact a loss adjusting firm that had recently been taken over and rebranded. Her parents later said something about them, just being old post-it notes. But then by then I was too pissed to give a shit. And, when the world's strongest man is on the telly, you're not getting much of my attention unless you happen to be in the shitter during the advert break. Good news though, the same bloke that got me those art materials, inverted commas, reckons he can sort me out with a load of Cunningham Lindsay flick books and pens this year. So, there's Christmas sorted again. Cheers, Pertwee Le Sec. Next question. Brian Spit and Sprint asks, do you think you and your ex-wife will ever get back together? No. Because she has been tainted. Because she has been touched by the grubby little hand of the lost assessor. The only way she could be purified now would be for the elders of the adjuster community to have a purification ceremony in the vaults below the original Lloyd's coffee houses in London, where insurance as we know it first emerged. It would involve, she'd have to stand in the middle, there'd be lots of candles around, robes, surrounded by the elders all chanting in Latin. They'd be, ab initio, ab initio, ab initio, basically trying to return her to what she was before. Although it did work in terms of her purity, unfortunately it couldn't return her back to the size 12 she was when I met her. But it never happened. Spittle Run, basically because it's a logistical nightmare, and I just couldn't be asked. Thank you for the question. Let's have one more. Last question from Sarah Banana Rootstock. She's asked, can we have more Rigger Jones and less of you? I thought he was better. So that's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Share the shit out of this podcast, yeah? Follow me on the Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, and get in touch if you want me to answer any of your questions. I shall return in the new year if I can be asked. But have a good Christmas and all that bollocks, and Happy New Year. Apart from Banana Rama Shoot Rock, whatever her shitty name is. She takes the piss. You can piss off. Thank you very much, and cheers.
Blah, blah, blah.